episode 7 and part 3 of our series on the Heavy Montreal Festival. We encountered Motionless in White, Insomnium, Pig Destroyer, Sanctuary, Within Temptation, Ihsahn, and did we see Lamb of God and Slipknot? Maybe. Only one way to find out. Hashtag no refunds. We also finally got to experience some good old French-Canadian wrestling. So, hear all about that and more. Sunday.
Race day.
Butt Rock Sunday.
No, but there's two parts to Sunday. So as Matt has pointed out, it was the theme of the day was butt rock for those of you playing the home game. But for those of you not playing the home game and going to the festival, the theme was Slipknot.
Yeah.
Because Slipknot was headlining, and I mean, this is just, I'm totally ballparking this. I don't have actual data on this, but I feel pretty safe in saying this. Like 50% of all shirts or costumes were Slipknot related.
Yeah, that's
and
intense.
Yeah, so no, here's the deal. We wanted to show up in time to see Fozzy, because for those of you who do not know, so unlike Abbott, which is Sabbath minus the S, Fozzy is Ozzy plus an F.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's like the flunky Fozzy, but it's Chris Jericho, the professional wrestlers band. Like I've literally never heard Fozzy on anything other than a pro wrestling event. And actually so for those of you who don't watch pro wrestling or don't know anything about it, it's one of the sort of tropes or audience participation things is people bring signs. Like they write stuff on big pieces of construction paper or whatever, and then hold it up. And for a while, like in the 90s, like this was huge. Like tons and tons and tons of people brought signs. The best sign I ever saw said, "Fozzy played my prom," which I felt was sort of really appropriate and believable, yet like fictitious enough to be hilarious. So I think part of the reason Fozzy played this fest is because Chris Jericho is Canadian.
I thought he was like dumping on Canadians for a while.
Oh, maybe. I mean, but like in pro wrestling, like, that's how you draw heat, right? Is you tell people that they're terrible, whatever. Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised. Like Sergeant Slaughter had an anti-American angle. Like he claimed to have defected to Iran, yet somehow we allowed him to compete in wrestling events in the country. Be like
more about wrestling.
He also became a G.I. Joe character at some point. So
yeah, so he's doing all right for himself. But yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if Jericho had an anti-Canada angle at some point. But the point is, I'm pretty sure his quote unquote metal band was on this fest mostly because they were Canadian. They also were playing at 1 in the afternoon. To his defense, they were playing the main stage. But so the thing was, we knew how much time it would take us to get there, but we totally missed it because it's day 3. You sleep later than you want. It took longer than we expected to get. Like we went to the same place to eat breakfast as we did the day before, and this time there was like a gigantic line. So we're like, all right, guess we're missing Fozzy. So anyway, we show up, and we miss Fozzy, but upon arrival, we discovered even if we'd been on time with our plan, we would have missed Fozzy, because today, on Slipknot Day, there was an enormous line to get in, like a herding people, letting them in segments.
Yeah.
Because there was all these people there to see Slipknot. Apparently it was...
What?
Yeah, no.
What year is this?
Yeah.
It's whatever year it is in Canada. So apparently last year was crazier with Metallica. The thing about that is like that I get.
Yeah.
And like even though Metallica have been awful forever, like I would watch them because they're gonna play something off Ride the Lightning or something off Matt. Like they're gonna play something. They're gonna play one. Like
what's funny is that same article about sort of the rise and fall of nu metal mentions Slipknot, but it mentions them as like an anomaly that does not factor into
the rest of it. Let me see if I can find the quote.
No, like every
Kind
so
of right.
no, they are because so when people would say like, oh, like new metal's not metal, blah blah whatever. I understand what they're saying, but in a way, it still has a lot of the aesthetics of metal. The last few Slipknot songs that I've heard, because like the last time I was at this weird party in Pennsylvania and they had like MTV on, and I saw this Slipknot song and I had no idea what it was until the end, and I was like, that was Slipknot? Like that didn't sound like metal at all. Like it wasn't even heavy. It didn't have the aesthetics of anything. Like, and I mean, admittedly, I know not all their stuff sounds like that, but yeah, I don't know. They're terrible. They're an awful band.
They're
Like,
also responsible, like all those Japanese bands that started coming over since like 2009. That
Like-
was all because of Slipknot
like
for some
who-
reason.
like
Darren Gray.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're so bad. They're so bad. If you want some pure comedy, there's a video on YouTube. It's called I can't remember if it's Juggalos versus Maggots or Ninjas versus Maggots, but it's these like two kids from some flyover state, and they have this thing about like how they respect each other's culture or scene. Like culture is not the right word. Scene. And oh my god, it's so funny. We'll have to find that. We can link that with, man, there's so much linkable stuff for this. But so anyway, there's a lot of poor fashion choices on people who are seemingly too old to have made these choices there on Sunday, and they're causing this enormous line. So then by the time we got in, I don't even remember like who was on at that point. Because I remember what we went to see, but somebody was playing the main stage that we were like, who is this? And they were white. Something white.
Oh, Motionless in White.
Motionless in White.
Right. So they have dumb face paint, which is like half-assed corpse paint. And they're just one of these really awful, I don't even know what the fuck you call that
Terrible?
kind of nonsense. Yeah, it's so bad.
They're very
It's just like,
scene-forward.
yeah, it's scene and like the whole like, this is metal? Like,
Kids are into this, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, they were horrifically bad. So we you walk in and you can hear the main stage. And so that we saw like 20 seconds of this and we're like, okay, we gotta get out of here. So we walked over to the other side to see Insomnium were playing Apocalypse. So again, now I had written down Insomnium from the standpoint of like, I don't really care, but they're gonna be like probably the best thing at that time. They were all right. And the weird thing was we get there and I say to Matt, I'm like, is that Nick playing guitar? He's like, what are you talking? I'm like, Nick Cordle? Like, This Means You, Arsis, Arch Enemy? And he's like, oh, I don't know. And they finished playing that song and they're like, give it up for Nick Cordle. I'm spilling it. I was like, yes. Okay, so then that was actually so we hadn't linked up with Kim Dilla yet either because, like I said, my phone didn't work. Like because we're in Canada. And Kim's standing on the side of this because This Means You is Kim and Nick had a band back in Virginia and back in the day, and it was called This Means You. So they're really long time friends, and so I'm like, oh, there's Kim, like standing on the side of the stage. So like we ran into her, and that was cool. But yeah, I mean they were all right. They were like kind of melodic death metal thing, and yeah, Nick held it down.
yeah, and didn't we? Yeah, we and when we did bump into Kim, she was saying that that Nick was telling her like he had 2 sets.
Oh, right.
That were like new to him
right.
that he was preparing for because he was playing with them and Sanctuary.
Right. She was like, yeah, no, Nick was all like, don't talk to me. I got to learn 2 sets. Cause I was like, I didn't know he was playing. Yeah. And she was like, yeah, like it was real last minute, blah, blah. And he's saying, don't talk to me because I'm playing 2 sets, cause he's got Sanctuary. I'm like, I didn't know he's playing Sanctuary either.
Yeah. Well, and the funny thing is like, once they mentioned that, then I was like, that's why his name sounded so familiar. Cause I had seen him announced as the new Sanctuary guy. Cause Sanctuary is one of those bands where I was like, who are the guitar players? Oh, the dudes who were in Sanctuary, in the 80s. But one of them's already like done with it. One of them was clearly like, oh, you guys want to keep doing this? Oh man, all right. Well, I'm going home. Have fun. And so, he was announced as the new guy because he used to be in Arch Enemy.
Yeah.
Which I just found most notable because again, Arch Enemy was like, so who's in the band now? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
That's like a theme.
And it seems kind of shitty because it clearly seems like, oh, we can get Jeff Loomis, like, and Nick again, who I don't know as well, but having seen him in both in Sanctuary and in Insomnium, he was awesome.
Yeah,
and I was like,
Nick holds it down. He was an artist.
Yeah,
which like that's the thing. So again, if people don't know, like Jim Malone. And Mike Van Dyne, the original drummer, they went to Berkeley with me, and like if you've just like Arsis kind of changed their sound over time. If you've never heard the first Arsis demo, that was the best. Like it's super awesome, and that stuff's not easy to play. And yeah, I mean Nick holds it down, and he's been in a lot of different bands. Like that's how you know he's good, is because he's played in so many other people's bands. And he keeps getting gigs, like because he does a great job all the time. Yeah, he's total professional. He's a really great player. Yeah.
So let's see. Oh yeah, so I found the Slipknot quote. So this is from this article on decibelmagazine.com about. It's called "They Did It All for the Nookie," the rise and fall of nu metal. But this particular quote is just this one little stanza by itself. Slipknot's eruption, beginning in 1999, is largely irrelevant. The Iowa collective has simply been able to generate a cultish aura, that sense of kinship that nu metal couldn't sustain. To tie Slipknot's success to any music trend is like trying to map Insane Clown Posse's success by the state of hip hop. Yeah. Which I thought was very astute, very accurate.
That is dead on.
Yeah, it's and it's they're not quite nu metal, they're not quite traditional metal. They had more like old school metal elements, which a bunch of kids were like, that's why it's okay, right? And I was like, that doesn't make it good.
Yeah.
Like,
you're like, just because there's riffs.
Yeah, like they like Metallica. It's like, yeah, I'm not into Metallica. So but the whole thing is right. It's like gimmick. You know, that they might have to be a factor on the gimmick metal episode I want to do soon, because gimmick metal is all the rage now. And
no, totally. Because the other thing is, like, I couldn't stand to talk about Slipknot for a whole episode. Yeah, because then we would have to actually like listen.
I couldn't do a whole episode on Slipknot. Honestly,
I couldn't stand it.
I couldn't handle it.
But ICP is the best comparison, right? Because they have like a name for their fans.
Yep.
There's this bizarre following, and
bunch of dumb masks.
Totally, it's totally uncorrelated to the style of music that they purport to be.
Yeah, and
Carnival, man.
Yeah, well, and they're another band that just has way too many people in it for no reason. Like every time I hear them, right? This is the thing where I would see the video and I'd be like, "That's just the video, right? There's not that many dudes like on stage." No, there's like 12 dudes on stage, and I would hear them and I'd be like, "This is the band with like 12 dudes on stage. What are those dudes doing?" I don't get it.
Slipknot totally needs to have their own like gathering to take things to the next level.
Maggot Fest.
Yeah, I don't know why they don't.
Because maybe there's a god. Because I don't know, their fans are more geographically distributed than to Illinois and Michigan and Ohio.
Oh, so I think after Insomnium is when we finally caught some wrestling.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
I posted a video on Facebook, which I will also
the first wrestling match.
Right. And this was my favorite because like it was a tag team match and two of them were clearly supposed to be like lumberjacks.
Yeah. French Canadian
lumberjacks
with the sleeves cut off.
Which was also great because I heard the only person I heard speaking English was the ref, which was weird because he would be like, "No, you can't do that," and I'd be like, but then the French Canadian lumberjack dudes would just yell out some smack like, and the crowd would be like, "Oh!" It would be like,
right. They every time anybody like got some heat, we had no idea what was going on.
It was hilarious.
But man, the French speakers ate it up.
That and I mean, I guess the later match seemed a little like closer to pro, but they also constantly like missing moves.
Here's the thing: these guys, it was like they were like, you know what? You know when we're gonna have a chance to get some new fans is like when when we get out of the church basement and we play the forest at the Metal Fest. So it was like they tried to chain like a million high spots together. Again, if you don't know anything about pro wrestling, so there's like a bunch of like pedestrian type moves that you can do that, you know, you just sort of fill a match. And then there's what they call high spots. So like think of like jumping off the top rope, right? Like it's a big deal. Like, so these guys would just try to chain all these high spots together. And this is a bad idea for a lot of reasons. And again, which is kind of what showed like the overwhelming amateurness of this ironically so-called pro wrestling was. Yeah. Because the botches, like there's high spots, when they go wrong, they go really wrong. like those are the kind of moves where people get injured. But it's also like you can't just like flub it and make it look okay. Like it's clearly gone wrong,
which is what they kept trying to do.
Right. And so like there was a lot of like epic, but like there was some good moves, but there was a lot of epic botches in between, and it was pretty funny. The ref was on point though. That guy knew how to sell. Somebody get that guy a contract. He looked exasperated by everything that happened. It was amazing. Like that guy was great, but the actual wrestling was, I don't know. It was pretty comical, but it's one of those deals. Like I love pro wrestling when it's bad. Yeah. Like I prefer to watch it when it's bad because it's like it's not even hate watching. It's just ironic. Like, oh wow, this is a thing that is televised. That's amazing. So this was totally up my alley. This was except for the being in French part, because then I don't know how hilariously bad the banter was. Which, if it was in line with the banter from the rest of the fest, was probably pretty bad. Yeah. But yeah, so we saw the one tag match. It was funny, and then you know there was an air of excitement.
There was something we were waiting for that we knew was not a distant event, not too far away. Heaven wasn't too far away,
to be precise.
Yeah. So we saw Warrant. Well, we were told we saw Warrant, but I knew that Janie Lane was dead.
Right, and I didn't. Matt told me this like the day before.
I was like, so I'm pretty sure the singer's dead, which is the only person I would recognize from Warrant. Right. And so there's no way of really knowing if anybody else in that band has ever previously been in Warrant.
Right. They all could have been like they could have been a cover band.
Yeah.
That could have been the first time they were ever technically in Warrant, because it was just like 5 dudes that looked like they were left over from the 80s. And they happen to know these songs, like And the other thing is, no one. I don't know about anybody else. We didn't really know any Warrant songs, right? So they could have played like literally anything vaguely 80s sounding, as long as at some point they played Cherry Pie, right? And you could have convinced me that was Warrant.
At one point, they said, "Mind if we play a new song?" And I was like, "Yeah, but I can't tell anyway."
Right. You're like, on principle, yes, but like really no, because you could have told me it was an old song, and I probably wouldn't have known. But it was funny because they actually played several songs that we recognized.
Yeah, they played all 3 Warrant songs that I could recognize.
They played Heaven. They played Cherry Pie.
And they played Uncle Tom's Cabin.
And they played Uncle Tom's Cabin. And so, are we going to talk about the dude at our table?
Yes.
Okay.
So,
you wrote some of this down, right?
Yes. So we made a friend accidentally. We basically were like, all right, we don't need to stand up for Warrant.
Well, and it was really hot. The sun was like beating down.
Super hot.
So we were like, let's like find some shade.
Yeah.
But there, all the like good shaded spots were taken. So what we settled for was, if we sit at a picnic table, then at least our legs are shaded. And I was wearing like black jeans.
Yeah. Plus I was just so sick of standing up by Sunday.
So we like, of course, no table's completely open, but there's one table that just has one dude at it. Yeah. Like he's probably like 50, like some older dude. So we sit down at that table.
Is that the dude there for Dokken?
No, he was there for Warrant though.
Yeah. So at one point, we just keep, bullshitting like we do. And he kind of started to notice and kind of like...
But he didn't realize we were bullshitting. He was like,
right.
You guys want to talk about war?
Right. I think he was just surprised we knew who they were. I think at first he thought we were just like...
Well, he probably thought we were way younger.
Right.
So as we discussed on previous episodes, we can pass for much younger than we actually are. Like we're not young, but people think that we're young.
Right. Because my impression was he was like, oh shit, these dudes actually know who Warrant is. That's pretty cool.
They're keeping the fire.
Keeping the fire. It's because at one point, I literally yelled, "Play your hit," as a joke. And Rich said, "That's one of their minor hits." And then the dude at the table turned around and said, "That's one of their major hits." But it was after people stopped listening to them.
And we're like, by definition, it wasn't a hit.
Right. By definition, it was not a major hit. That, and they kept ending songs with a riff from a different song.
Yeah, right, and not their songs. Like they ended one song with Paranoid. Like they were like, and so I'm like, oh, they're gonna play Paranoid. Great, because I would much rather listen to a bad cover of Paranoid than like a bad maybe cover of Warrant.
Yeah.
But then they wouldn't. And
Right.
like
They would just end a song with like down or something. It was just like, wait, what was that from? It was clearly not the same song.
So they're like teasing you that they might be a better band,
Right.
Or that you could
Just
be hearing a
kidding.
better
Still
band.
Warrant.
I was like Paranoid, Smoke on the Water. Like, come on, I'll take anything. Like, not Warrant. And then they would play another Warrant song.
Oh man, I have so many notes on Warrant.
Dude, tell them all.
right,
Because
so-
I didn't write stuff down. I was depending on you to write it down.
This was the best banter of the weekend, in my opinion.
Oh God,
Which
it
was
some quality banner.
and I think this was before Heaven. This is when Heaven was the least far away. And he said, "You probably know the words to this song. If you don't, your girlfriend does, or your mom." And there was some woman, because when people are actually singing along, they'll put that up on the screen so that you know that other people are like into it.
That the band has fans.
Right.
They found the one person who's like excited.
Yeah, but they found this woman singing. Well, a lot of people are singing along to Heaven because it's the one song that they know the words to, other than Cherry Pie, and again only the chorus. And this woman, an older woman, was singing along to Heaven, and she had a Slipknot bandana. And so like, oh, we found the crossover audience for the day. And I was like, oh yeah, I put that on the internet and ruined her maggot cred. And then Rich said, I'd say street cred, but most of them live near unpaved roads. It's more like trailer cred.
Dirt road cred.
And then when they were finally, this was the Heaven, Uncle Tom's Cabin, Cherry Pie, like
bringing it's the block. What do they call it on the radio when it's the
nonstop
the rock block, the nonstop rock block.
Yeah,
only playing the hits,
only the hits,
playing the hits,
because we're legally obligated to only play the hits that we have been informed will be hits when we are forced to play them all day. So another quote when they were introducing, he said, "It's not swampy enough for this song." And I was like, Uncle Tom's Cabin.
Right.
And then the old dude at the table like turned around and like nodded.
Yeah,
in
he was
approval.
like, yeah, you guys are pumped too to hear Uncle Tom's Cabin. It's awesome. Keeping the fire.
Yeah. And then because we established we knew a thing or two about Warrant, Rock and Roll Dad turns around and says,
No, you can't call him Rock and Roll Dad because
right.
that implies that he procreated at some point.
No, sorry. Rock and roll sad old dude. And so the dude suddenly turns to us and he goes, and this is like during like Cherry Pie. This is like at the end of the set. He's like, "That's not the original singer, right?" And we're like, "No, he's dead."
Just like totally.
Yeah.
No,
no,
he's dead.
He did.
He did.
He did. Yeah. And then the singer, despite all his great banter, didn't seem to know the verses to Cherry Pie, which granted are terrible.
And no one else knows. So you can't really fault him except for that it's his job to know them.
All I remember is like swinging here and there, and like because they couldn't say fucking, so they're like swinging in the front lawn, swinging in the car.
No, and they goes, think about baseball all night long.
Yeah. But it was always swinging, like swinging in the front yard, swinging in the back. But he like didn't know any of those.
Right,
words.
he pulled a Gary Sharon.
Yeah.
I mean that was the thing. If you're the replacement singer for an '80s band this weekend, it was your job to forget the verse to the big hit,
the biggest song. But your mom probably knows the words, so it's okay.
Yeah, just get her up there. She probably has the same hair.
Yeah. So then we had to leave our warrant friend because it was time for Dokken.
Oh yeah.
Back to back 80s glory.
Yeah, they just again rock block back to back, all the hits,
back
man.
to back.
So
Sunday.
Now this is very important though. We knew it was Dokken because
Yes.
I'd written it down on my schedule. We don't know how many other people knew it was Dokken because they were the only band of the entire fest that did not have a backdrop.
What?
Right.
No kind of banner
There was no
whatsoever.
banner. Like a couple bands had banners that like were their logo, which you would have to know the band to know what the thing was. But most of them had a thing that like said who they were. And Dokken, it was just black
On stage.
They were just up there. They phoned it in. Like no. So first of all, they
Told me a
opened.
little about this.
They opened the set with Kiss of Death.
Yeah.
Okay. Which on one hand was a good move because you're like, okay,
Like,
we're
know what this
doing
band is.
this.
Yeah.
We're doing this. But
rocking
then
with Dokken.
it was all downhill from
Yeah.
there. Like that was the highlight of the set.
Makes me sad.
I've heard a lot that Don Dokken can't sing anymore. But honestly, the first couple songs, I was like, you know what? I mean, I'm sure he can't do really high stuff, but like his voice sounds all right. And then it all kind of went downhill about 3 songs in. And
You're right. And even Kiss of Death, it's like he didn't sing it up there.
Yeah.
But it was like whatever.
Yeah,
It wasn't. I would rather people sing something where they can, as opposed
Yeah.
to try to sing it somewhere they can't.
I expected the sort of late days of Queensryche.
Right, the Jeff Tate, like,
Right.
let me just drop this 3 octaves.
Yeah. And then, okay, I'm going to do the one high note. Not really.
I love how people are still convinced like he's still got it.
Yeah, but not many
Do
of
you have
them.
ears?
Not many of them.
A lot of people we know.
It's been a
Right.
pretty big public
But-
thing where like
Yeah.
most people are like, well, since Queensryche no longer is trying to convince you that he can still sing, maybe I should stop buying it. So the other quote I have from Don Dokken, because he just seems so tired and
Yeah,
like
his
old, like
his banner was really like, we're really doing this.
I almost expected
I'm on
him
stage.
to say, "I'm almost dead and I need this."
But what he was referring to was the paycheck.
Right.
Iggy needed the camaraderie.
He needed the emotional support.
Don and the rest of Dokken needed the paycheck.
Yeah. But he did say, for me, it's always going to be 1986.
My favorite part of the banter was when he was like, so Slipknot's playing later. That's really want to see that. And you're like, what you mean, because you're glad that there are people here to see you play? Because they probably wouldn't be if you weren't on the same bill as Slipknot.
Like trying to get the attention of the, like, hey, man, you guys want to see this band that's playing way, way later today?
You want to see this band's playing 7 hours from now?
Yeah. Oh, man, I can't wait.
Dokken tours a lot. Like, how do they get people to come see them?
I don't know.
Nostalgia?
Yeah,
Yes.
right. Well, if you don't know any better,
Yeah.
right?
I mean,
if you think like, oh man, haven't seen Dokken since the 80s.
Yeah.
I'd love to step out and see that. I mean, we got duped into seeing a wedding band a couple weeks ago.
that's true.
We fucking paid for it. That's the thing. You don't know until it's too late.
So
like-
tell us the worst part about the Dokken set, or at least worst for me.
Basically everything that wasn't Kiss of Death. Like,
What they didn't play.
right. Okay, so the set list was a problem.
Yeah.
Okay, because Dokken have a fair number of hits, and so they played Kiss of Death, and I'm like, okay, they again, like a lot of these bands, they were all playing their hits, a lot of good set lists. Dokken didn't play Dream Warriors, and
Yeah.
and I
Fucking bullshit.
they
Yeah.
played In My Dreams,
Yeah.
and I'm like, you have 2 songs to choose from here with Dreams in the title that you should play. And the answer is not in my dreams. I was so disappointed. I'm like,
Yeah. So my guess is listening to it is because he probably can't sing any part of it.
Yeah.
but he can't sing any part of Kiss of Death either. But they made it work.
Yeah, but like there's a lot of but
maybe it's one of those things where George is like, that's my song and I'm not the band. If you play that, I'm gonna hunt you down. I'm gonna invade your dreams and murder you. like
that song without me is for you know what.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Since we told the George Litch story last time. So yeah, no, it was really disappointing. And there was one thing that was really great about the set though, and it was this dude in front of us. So like the Warrant set, there was a guy at a picnic table. We weren't at his picnic table, but we were very close to his picnic table. He was wearing he had a Black Sabbath 13, like the recent like. If there was any way you were gonna rep Sabbath, like I've heard a lot of people be like, man, I just pretend that like Tyr and Eternal Idol don't exist because I hate Tony Martin. I love Tony Martin.
Yeah.
I would totally rep that shit. But 13, that's like, oh, Black Sabbath have a new album? I haven't heard it, but it says Sabbath, so it's gotta be good, right? You're like, no. So this dude was wearing a 13 shirt, and then he had a sweatshirt tied around his waist. So I've actually uploaded 2 videos of this guy to my Instagram because the first one was actually during Kiss of Death. This guy was rocking out, but it was almost like this robotic rock out, like because either he was on autopilot from like the drugs he'd done over the years, or he was too like old and stiff to move in any way that wasn't super mechanical. I'm gonna guess it's the former. Because the second video I've uploaded of him was him and some other dude at the picnic table having, for seemingly no reason or no discernible reason, to me, a slap fight. Which is the most appropriate form of fight to have in public when you're like 50.
yeah.
At a metal
At a
festival.
metal fest
In Canada.
While Dawkins is playing.
While Dawkins is playing. It was weird, man.
That's pretty funny.
I don't know, but that was it. The set was basically Kiss of Death, and then a huge chunk of mediocrity and some weird banner from Don.
I knew a few songs because they played a bunch off the one album that I'm trying to remember if I actually bought it or if I just found a way to hear it otherwise.
I like Dokken, and I've never bought a Dokken album.
Here's my thing. What I was saying was I was really into Dokken for like 2 weeks in the mid to late 90s.
I was never into Dokken.
I couldn't pinpoint
I'm
it,
sorry.
but there was a point because at one point I just like systematically was like went through the 80s guitar players and was like, oh, George Lynch is a big deal. Let me check him out. And I had Tooth and Nail, which they played the song Tooth and Nail.
I like
It's
that
not
one.
very good. Yeah, that's the one I had, and I dig it. I had. So they played that. They played Into the Fire.
Yeah, but it was awful.
No, it
that
was. It
the
was really
thing.
bad.
It was so bad. It didn't matter.
Well, yeah, because too many of their songs are based around the high vocal parts, right? So
Next year they
what?
should just get Cinderella. Just see how that
man.
goes. Or Slaughter.
Slaughter would be hilarious.
I would pay money to see
I would
Slaughter.
so see Slaughter. Let's make sure we see Slaughter if they
Whitesnake?
tour. Whitesnake is like who's
Whatever,
even-
man. I'll just go see DC, aka David Coverdale Cooper.
Yeah,
Or Jorn Lawn, dude.
Yeah.
Fucking.
That would actually be good, though.
yeah. That's the best version of Whitesnake, Jornland. So we saw after that we went to see Pig Destroyer at the Apocalypse stage.
How was it?
It was Big Destroyer.
My
It was
impression
exactly what you would expect.
was not really knowing what to expect. Is they were better than Cattle Decapitation. So as far as bands I've seen,
The other band
Right.
whose name is Animal plus Violence.
right, is the other band named after violence towards animals.
No, but Cattle Decapitation, it's ironic,
Right,
right? It's like, don't eat meat.
Yeah.
But Pig Destroyer, I think, is they're talking about cops, not animals.
That's possible. I don't care. You couldn't tell because it's one of those bands where the vocals, it just is kind of like a syllable, and it doesn't really. If there were words,
it's barking.
they don't translate. Yeah. But they were better than I expected. More coherent. than I
Yeah,
expected.
I've seen them before. It was just kind of like, okay, yeah, it's Big Destroyer.
More or less barking than Caninus.
Less.
And then, oh, fuck,
Also less quality.
I forgot to look this up. I got to find out on Sunday, whoever was playing at the Forest stage until 7, we walked by at like 6:55, and they were playing the last song of their set, and it was an unironic cover of Turn Down for What.
Yeah. Right, no, because we were going over there to see Ihsahn, and so we walked past, and they were like, for this last one, or like whatever, the typical, like, this is our last song, blah, blah. And they're like, Turn Down for What? And then it was like this weird, terrible metal
Yeah, and I was
cover
like,
of it.
really? And yeah, and then it was like, you expected it to be mildly ironic? No, they were so into
And
it.
the crowd was into it.
Yeah.
The crowd was digging it. Yeah, we got to look that up, man. That was bad. But no, so anyway, Pig Destroyer, and then Sanctuary right after that, right?
Yes.
So
yes.
the second Nick Cordle set
Yes.
of the fest. So this is actually really good because we saw Sanctuary at Prague Power a couple years ago, and that was pretty awful. I don't know.
Understatement.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Fucking bad.
It was bad. But this one was pretty good. They had a good set list. Even the like newer song that they played off the last album, like it was pretty good.
Yeah.
And Nick did a really great job, and they played a lot of old stuff.
Yeah.
Most of my comments are around the mosh pit. So first of all, there was no pit, and Worrell was like, "I want to see a pit," and you're like, "Great."
Yeah.
Ask a bunch of people who don't want to mosh to mosh.
But that crowd was like, oh, all right, let's get it together.
No,
Let's
so
get it happening.
there's like 8 dudes.
Yeah.
They're like the kind of dudes that you could ask them to mosh like anywhere, and they'd be like, "We're gonna mosh now." Like,
if you had a Katy
sweet.
Perry concert, she'd be like, you know what I want to see is a mosh pit. And they'd be like, yeah, fuck yeah, okay, let's just get this fucking shit going.
Grocery store parking lot. Let's mosh.
Right. So these 8 dudes decide to mosh, and this one woman. But the thing was, there was this one dude in the pit who was like somebody's dad. He's wearing a collared shirt, like a long sleeve collared shirt, jeans that were too big, and then sandals, and
Dresses like me.
right. He has a collar.
I wear collared shirts sometimes.
I've never seen you wear a collared shirt.
Yeah,
not
Pixar
to
didn't happen.
not to a metal fest. And but he was pretty bald too. But he wasn't embracing it. It was like that. It was what was left, not like he shaved it off. And so, but this dude was huge, and but he was just sliding around because he had like no traction on these sandals. He actually bit it. He actually wiped out and fell down. I was like, but yeah, it was the saddest pit because you're like, that's one of those things, man. Like, I get if you're like it's like a super brutal band, right? And it's your first song, and you're like, no, guys, like mosh, and then they're like, oh, okay, like, I guess it's time to mosh now.
Yeah.
But if you're like Sanctuary, and people, nobody looked like they wanted to mosh, and then you're like, what would be great is if you had an embarrassingly terrible pit.
Yeah.
But so I lucked out though, because what I did was I stood right at the edge, like the back edge of the pit. So then I had an awesome, totally unobstructed view.
Yeah.
I just had to push some morons occasionally. But
Yeah, my thing with Sanctuary is, my guess is like, so when they played Prague Power, again, it's like this band from the 80s, and like, okay, Worrell and Jim have been working, but the rest of these dudes, as far as I know, just been, hanging out, living their lives. And then all of a sudden it's like, all right, let's play again. And so I wasn't really surprised by that. But now they're like, first it was all, and this is all hearsay through the grapevine from people who I know who bumped into Worrell or Jim. And there was a word, the word was like, okay, we're doing the Sanctuary reunion, but it's just a reunion. And then Nevermore's not done. Don't worry. Even if those assholes don't want to do it anymore. But recently, Worrell changed his tune, which was like, oh, well, we wouldn't do it without those assholes. And, obviously he didn't call them assholes that time because he's trying to be like, no, it's cool, man. Jeff just got a new gig that pays way better, so it's not happening soon, but maybe when that ends, that, which actually makes sense. He's probably like, oh, yeah, when, once the gravy train runs out.
It's way easier to play Arch Enemy songs than Nevermore songs.
Yeah.
Like, so.
Well, right, but I'm saying, but like that's the thing. I was like, who's in this band other than Worrell and Jim, the dudes who used to be in Sanctuary, right?
And Nick.
Well, yeah, and now Nick, but Nick wasn't at Prague Power. Is part of my point, right?
Oh,
like,
right,
They didn't
right,
have.
yeah.
They just had whoever the other dude was. I don't know who either of those guys are. Still don't. I may never figure it out. But they definitely were like no, right. So that was my thing. Like Sanctuary's cool, but if you're going from like Nevermore back towards Sanctuary, you lose some of the dissonance and you lose the shred.
Well, you lose all the rhythm.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Sanctuary's a straight ahead band.
Yeah, exactly.
Nevermore, like there are parts in Jimmy Neon Black that are like so disjointed that it approaches on unmetered. Like it's just like, Rawr. Yeah.
So, but now it's clearly that they're like, well, the reunion has legs. They must have done well enough on their little tour, or whatever, to be, and with the new album to be like, well, I guess let's keep doing this maybe, because clearly Nevermore's like missing half a band.
Yeah.
So how about we do this band now? And then one of the dudes, my theory is that after the initial reunion thing, he was like, oh, you guys gonna like keep doing this, man? I was just gonna go back to being a dude. I'm just gonna get, and so then they're like, oh shit, we need someone else, and then.
Well, but I think,
Nick.
well, who knows? Because I think it was short notice, right?
Yeah,
Because I think Nick had to learn the
But
set
I think
in like a week.
but I think he's like staying with them or something. I think
I wouldn't be surprised.
I heard something about him being the new guy. Yeah,
does it really well.
yeah.
So, but
So that's good.
But,
so
I
maybe
mean,
they'll
who
get
knows?
better, and then the next album,
Yeah. Oh no, if they have Nick
That would
play
be
on the
very
next
cool.
album, that'd be cool. And Worrell sounded really good.
Yeah.
Like he didn't. Again, he didn't try to sing anything. Like he couldn't sing.
Yeah,
They didn't play Soldiers of Steel.
right. Ever since he's stopped, like drinking and stuff.
Oh,
been a lot more
he's sober?
No, yeah. So he had this major health thing a while back. So like the first time I saw Nevermore, he was a mess, and the second time I saw Nevermore, he was really good. And what happened is he had some like I don't know all the specifics, so don't take any of this as fact. Just it could be completely wrong. But
What's the hate mail address again?
hate mail at yourmusicisbad.com.
If you want to tell Matt how wrong he is about all this, what really
or if
happened,
you if you just want to
do
like
our research for
yeah,
us.
if you want to tell
or
me
if you're Worrell and you want to write us. By
Right.
the way, Worrell, you snuck me into a Nevermore show when I was 19. I really appreciate that.
if you are Worrell or you just want to tell me the specifics, I will absolutely read them on the podcast after I get it. So
Right. There's time.
yeah.
But you won't hear this until.
Right. So, but I think it was some pancreatic thing, right? So
Okay.
some health thing that came up after years of drinking and stuff. And the end result was he had to stop drinking and it's part of the Nevermore thing, because he and Jim both stopped drinking. But apparently Van and Jeff didn't. And so part of it was they were still like, fucking rock and roll, let's party. And these dudes are like, well, we got to be like, mature old dudes now and like not party or whatever. And so apparently that was like maybe related to the rift between them. But the main thing I noticed was Worrell got way more consistent once he was sober, and it's gotten even better, I think, because he probably, again, when you're just like sober, you're like, then you actually notice what's going on when you're singing, you know?
Yeah.
You're not just like, I don't know what's up with that, but fuck it, And so
Well, no, it's like, man, that was awful last night. Well, I don't remember the set.
yeah,
So
and like clearly he figured out, the right amount of high stuff to still attempt, right? He did some of it, but he didn't overdo it, and he didn't do it until he just like blew himself out or anything.
right, and like I said, they also didn't. They didn't try to do like Soldiers of Steel, like anything crazy high.
Yeah, like didn't they do? There was one at Prague Power where they were like Battle Angels or something, where they're
Yeah.
like, "We're
Well,
gonna do this," and it's
no,
like,
even
"Are you?"
Well, they've been playing that for years. They've Nevermore would play that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I've seen
I never
Nevermore.
heard Nevermore do it. But
Oh, I did a ton. Well, I lived in Seattle, so I saw Nevermore like a ton of times.
yeah.
They actually there was one show where I was yelling for them to play it, and he goes, "Come on, man, you know that one's last."
Yeah, yeah.
He was like, quit yelling, man. You know that one's
Yeah,
last.
the dude just like kept being like, and he was like, don't be so fucking impatient. But then he also kept being like, yeah, we're gonna play a bunch of the new songs, all right? Just like, come on, man, they're pretty good. He was basically like, come on, just it's cool. We'll get to that shit. Just like listen to these new songs, please. But it was good. It was cool.
So what we do after that?
All right, so Sanctuary. I don't feel like there's something else before Ihsahn, but
Well,
maybe not.
Oh right, no, there was time, but Within Temptation was playing.
Oh right,
so
we caught like 15 minutes.
So we went over and saw that, and the thing was they were really bad. Yeah. So Within Temptation, that this album, The Silent Force, that's one of my like guilty pleasures. Like I'll listen to that. Like I will put it on because for whatever reason I find it entertaining. Yeah. They were really bad. Like and I don't know. I just felt like their whole stage presentation was around her boobs. So first of all, their backdrop didn't say Within Temptation, it said Hydra, which I guess is that like the new album or something. Yeah. And then they're all just like, they all looked like metal dudes who had day jobs or something, you know. It's like if I got up on stage, right? Like I have short hair, like whatever. And their drum kit had the plexiglass, the half plexiglass cage, you know, because she's got to hear herself, for whatever reason. And then she's wearing this ridiculous like white. It's not like you'd think it's a corset, but it's not. It just has that like direction in the stomach to it, and just like then her boobs. And they were bad. Like it wasn't like train wreck awful, like you didn't feel the need to flee immedly, but it was just sort of like the crowd was really into it, and you're like, why? You know, because it was just like whatever. Like I don't know.
Yeah, they're one of those bands. So they're like one of the earliest of this. They were not a result of this scene, but they basically were a precursor, and then they benefited from it. Which is there's this whole. I guess it's usually called symphonic metal, but that's a terrible name because it's not remotely accurate.
Right, but even the bands that get that label, I feel like these guys don't sound like that.
No, but
they don't have
they don't
have crazy like dumb keyboards.
But they were a predecessor.
She doesn't pretend to be an opera singer.
Right.
Like that's part of I think why I would listen to them.
Right. But they were around when there was like 3 female fronted metal bands or whatever. And so there was like them and Lacuna Coil.
The Gathering.
There
were other ones, people just didn't know them.
Right.
Like
Aurora. All of these bands.
Nobody knew Aurora.
Right. So when the Lacuna Coil got kind of big, and then Epica kind of did their thing.
Is the worst.
But that whole and Nightwish. But the main thing is like
another terrible band. Any
of these bands who sort of like, you know, like Within Temptation, I feel like I heard of them before any of those other bands.
Well, they've been around. They have a ton of albums.
That's my point. They've been around a long time, and so they're not part of that scene. But when that scene got big, they like got attention too.
Right,
like,
and when all those other bands stopped being bands, they were still a band.
Right. So I feel like that's why I was like, okay, it makes sense. Like they're on this big stage and whatever, and they've been around in Europe forever.
They made a couple cool videos too, actually. You know. I can't remember the name of the song now, and I'm gonna hate. But they actually have one video that's really cool, but I just can't remember it.
Well, and they're one of those bands I never really got into them, but I remember, like, I'm pretty sure I've missed them at Prague Power before because I know they've played Prague Power, but I know I haven't seen them.
I don't remember.
So I was like,
that was the year I didn't go.
It was one of those years where I was like, okay, I could, you know, maybe I should see them, but then I, wanted to eat or something more important. And so I didn't. But in this case, like, oh, cool. Yeah, I want to hear a little bit of what they're doing. But yeah, it was just
it was pretty bad. But the thing was, that was only like, even if
we basically walked over there, we're like, oh, this is pretty bad. Let's go see Ihsahn.
Here was the deal. Like their set started at 6 and Sanctuary ended at 6:30, and then Ihsahn was at 7. So when we walked over, minutes. Right, I timed. I was like, how long does it take us to walk here? Because then we'll know what time we need to leave and go back. But we didn't wait that long. We were like, let's just go back.
Yeah, that's enough of Within Temptation.
Yeah, we watched like 10 minutes, and then we went back to watch Ihsahn. That was pretty brave.
Yeah, like Ihsahn was awesome.
I thought he was way better at Prague Power when Leprous was his band.
Oh, that set was amazing.
That set was amazing. The set at the exception for that was he played that song off Prometheus, which is like, I love Emperor, but Prometheus is terrible. It's unlistenably bad. But then the set that they played at MDF, where Leprous was their backing band, that set was really great too, and contained no songs off Prometheus. But I didn't think just that set wasn't as good. The Prog Power set was like super awesome.
Yeah.
But it was a good set.
Yeah.
And then for this set, he's got a new band.
Yeah, because I think Leprous is like sort of on tour. So
who knows?
He recruited some other Norwegian
Or
dudes.
as I said, I would have kicked them out after hearing the Congregation. Or rather, no, actually what I said was I would have kicked them out of my band too after hearing that last album. What was it called? And Matt was like, the Congregation. I'm like, yeah, that piece of crap.
Everybody gets one.
Everybody gets one. So yeah, but he didn't have a bass player. See, they had.
Yeah.
So I couldn't hear the bass, but you said they had bass tracks.
I specifically, I saw the dude like starting off the tracks on the laptop, and so I listened like, is there a bass track? And I heard it like during the last couple songs. I mean, the sound wasn't amazing.
Also, we were too close to really be in the field of the mains.
Right, and that's probably why the sound wasn't amazing, because we were just close. But yeah, so I could hear the bass. There was another time where I was like, it sounds like there could be a bass. I mean, early on, I was like, I don't hear a bass.
He also had an 8-string guitar.
Right. No, but I'm saying during the 6-string stuff,
yeah.
there was a point where I was like, I hear bass during 6-string, 2 6-string guitars and no bass. And I looked at, I thought maybe the keyboardist was playing the bass line, but no, I think it was just a bass line track. And the keyboardist playing the keys you couldn't really hear.
Ihsahn has graduated to backing track shred.
Yeah. So, but he was considering the backing tracks and the new random band of dudes that isn't Leprous. It was pretty solid.
Yeah, no, it was a good set. It wasn't. It did blow me away. He played a new song. It's
called
online.
"My Heart Is of the North."
Right.
There's
Which
a video.
He was like, "Hey, Canada, we're from the North too. It's a different North."
Yeah.
Oh, but he did. Okay, so we got to talk some more about the banter. He did this thing that I hate that people do at fests, where they're like, they pretend it's just some other show, and they're always shouting out to the location, and I'm like, I'm not from here.
Yeah.
I'm not Montreal.
Yeah.
I'm not Atlanta. Like what? And so he was like, who was here last time I played? I'm like, not me, because I actually have never been to Montreal before.
Yeah.
And then he's like, and then he's like, we're from the North too. It's a different kind of North. Yeah. Like there's some lights there. And then they so then he played the "My Heart Is from the North."
There's a video online of it, which I feel like is exactly like 10 feet to the right of where I was standing, because I was looking for myself. I'm like, I got to be in this, and I was like, no, it's just to my right. But at one point, in fact, there was a dude behind me with a camera, and so for a second I was like, is my head gonna suddenly? Because I remember one point where I bumped him, and I'm like, oh, he's just like literally holding a camera up right behind my head, but it wasn't that guy.
Speaking of cameras, forgot to mention, there was a dude in the Gojira pit who had a GoPro taped to his baseball cap.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
They have like mounts for that.
Well, it was mounted, but to his cap. Like,
Yeah, to his he was wearing a baseball cap.
With tape, right?
no,
Yeah.
there was the
Oh,
thing.
he had
There was the
the-
thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think it was a real thing.
I thought it was like taped. I didn't want to look at him too intently because I thought he then might try to talk to me. He looked like a
and
weird
you didn't
dude.
want him to talk.
I didn't want him to be like our Warrant
Yeah.
fan friend.
I just know, based on having a GoPro, that it's probably, at the very least, there's simple mounts you can just stick on stuff that have adhesive.
Yeah.
So it was probably at least in a proper. It didn't look like it was like falling off or anything. But either way, it was still weird.
Yeah, you're like, what? So maybe there's some weird mosh pit video of me.
Yeah.
But so Ihsahn, like, not really a lot to make fun of there. Like it was just
It was one of my favorite sets of the
simple
week,
set.
honestly. I thought it was great. And I was just personally inspired by his use of a backing track bass, because I was like, hey, if it's good enough for Ihsahn.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would put Gojira, Meshuggah, Devin, and Beyond Creation all ahead of that set, but it was still a good set. And then, I mean, so then that was like the end of the fest for us, because the last two bands were...
Yeah, so the way I put it on Facebook is that we left after Ihsahn because there were clearly no other bands of note to see, and it was really cool to see Ihsahn close out the festival. And so we didn't stay for Lamb of God or Slipknot.
Yeah, right. The bands that, like, I would
Everyone
say
was.
Everybody that day was there to
Well,
see.
that was like 50% of the shirts were Slipknot, and pretty much like, so you would have a group
40% were
or-
Lamb of God.
Well, you would have like 4 kids, right? And like at least 2 of them would be wearing a Slipknot shirt, and then like one would just be wearing like a black wife beater, and then the other one would be wearing a Lamb of God shirt. That was sort of like your configuration.
Yeah.
So there were a ton of Lamb of God shirts, but I don't like them.
I have nothing against Lamb of God.
Them. Right. No, they're not one of those bands where you're like, man, why are people into this? Like,
Yeah.
I understand why people like Lamb of God.
And I've seen them.
I just don't.
Right.
And I saw them with Slayer, like in New Jersey, like years ago.
Yeah, I saw them. Oh, maybe did they do a tour with Meshuggah on the same bill? Because I feel like I saw them at the same place, or maybe the same night.
But because the thing is, even if they did, that's one of those things where like I would have left after Meshuggah.
Oh no! I think it was Gojira and Lamb of God.
Oh yeah, that sounds more appropriate. And again, I probably would have just left.
Yeah, right. No, and I did, but I stayed for a few songs, just be like, all right, Lamb of God, show me how you do shit. Yep, that's what I thought. All right, have fun, guys.
Peace out.
I'm out of here. Yeah. No, they're solid. It's just not my thing. But yeah, if you're into Lamb of God, it will be less of a dick to you than if you're into Slipknot.
So we managed to talk about metal, Canada, mullets, hockey haircuts, and shitty beer, and not once in this cast have we mentioned FUBAR.
Oh no, we did talk about FUBAR when we were there though, because
we couldn't remember what it was called.
Right? No, we were sitting. There wasn't any pro wrestling going on, but they had bleachers there, and so we wanted to sit at the thing, and there was like a total FUBAR moment unfolding. Was that the girl who had she looked like she was a drug addict, and she had the skin peeling off her back, whatever.
Oh yeah.
Like that. Oh, that's super great. And I was like, there's this movie. It's about these Canadian metalheads, and like that are like going nowhere. I'm like, there's a sequel. I'm like, what is it? And this dude sitting on the bleachers in front of us, he's like, FUBAR, and I was like, yeah, that's it. Because Jill hadn't seen it. I was like, and she only loves things ironically. I was like, you have to go watch this movie.
It's perfect for her.
Yeah. I was like, you got to watch this movie. I'm like, what's it called? And random Canadian dude with messed up teeth was like, called FUBAR. I'm like, thanks.
I know what that is.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah.
It was pretty amazing. There was definitely like some FUBAR moments at the fest. It was pretty amazing. But I mean, I mean, the fest was sponsored by Molson Canadian. It was
actually not that bad.
Well, no. What was really funny was so Raul, before we even got to the fest, like we went to the bodega, and they've got all this stuff. Like they sell Modit at the grocery store there. I was like, oh, this is amazing.
Yeah, like every store that sold beer had the full selection just about of Unibrow.
Yeah. And so there's like all this stuff. There's all this beer, and we're just looking at all this stuff. And I didn't know what Raul was looking for. And I was like, oh, look, they have Molson Export. And Raul's like, oh, yeah, that's what I want. We're like, what? And so he's drinking Molson Export, like, just because. And then we go to the fest where, like, you're forced to drink Molson. And then everybody's drinking Molson. And, like, Raul seemed okay with it. Jill seemed really, like, she's like, I can't believe, like, I'm like, this is the worst beer.
Doesn't she drink shitty beer?
Yeah, she drinks shitty beer, and she was not having it. That's part of the reason it was so funny. But your other options were to like rum up a lemonade, which that doesn't seem like a good combo. So it's no mint julep like we had at MDF.
That's true. Those are not good, but
but
totally appropriate.
But totally appropriate. Like, I mean, whatever. Spearmint's disgusting. Like, and I think Alex even had his with like diet spearmint or something, which seems even worse because artificial sweetener stuff's usually like way more potent.
A happy birthday shout outs to Alex. I think it was his birthday like yesterday.
Right. And like so when this comes out 2.5 weeks from now, your birthday will have been half a month ago, but rockin' barbecue every year, buddy. We appreciate it. He was also the originator of Derby Day at Deathscape. So that was his idea. I mean, like, we had the idea to yacht it up. He had the idea to make it a counter Deathscape event. He also loaned me a bow tie, but it didn't go with my ensemble. So yeah, but no, I don't know what craziness happened with the maggots. I mean, I saw a bunch of guys wearing like their jumpsuits with their barcodes. And I kind of wondered if, if they'd acquired those for the show, or they just had those
Yeah.
lying around, maybe from possible earlier prison terms.
And a lot of these dudes in like a jumpsuit and
Masks.
but like wearing them all day. Like, man, like, do you just not want people to know that it's you?
No, but if you're,
also?
let's say you're horrifically disfigured, right?
Then you're probably into Slipknot.
Right. So that's you're a Slipknot fan,
Right.
and then you're also like, but I can like go out in public and it's plausible deniability. Like, I don't know. Yeah, there was a lot of bad fashion choices. Like, so I mean, Jill had this meme where she's like, I don't trust any woman who has shaved the side of her head.
Yeah.
And she repeated this many times. But there was there
was a lot of shaved sides
now.
of heads.
There were a lot of those, and I saw this one woman. She had dyed hair like a non-natural color, right, or non-occurring in nature's hair colors. The side of her head was shaved. She was like pasty pale white. She was wearing like a bra as a bikini top, and she had like some jorts that she had cut herself.
Relevant to my interest.
Yeah, there was a lot of questionable life choices as conveyed through fashion statements at the fest. You probably should have been there.
Started a new job.
Oh yeah, dude, this is a really good festival. You probably should have gone to.
Kind of like making money a little more.
Well, you will get to do a.
Well, I went on paid vacation. So.
You will get to do one episode. You tell me the show I missed because I won't be here for
Brain Dance.
Oh, that's next month, right?
Yep.
Why are you not going to Brain Dance?
Because I will still be in Atlanta.
Prague Power.
I think you should not
go to Prague
Power
Power to go to the
see
Brain
Brain Dance.
No, but watch him do that and watch the show be like terrible.
Right.
Well, yeah, that's the thing.
The Brain Dance show that we have video footage from 1996 is amazing. It's only been 19 years.
Did they play more than one show at that point, or did they just do one and now this is the next one?
I don't know. It was in Baltimore at a Prague festival.
I know for a while they had a hard time either getting or keeping a drummer, and they were like asking people for.
Yeah.
And they've been trying to do live shows for years.
Yeah. Well, so
Never come
hopefully,
together.
if it works, they'll do it again. But I'm doing podcasts in Atlanta, so definitely. I looked into coming back on Sunday because I could have changed the hotel, and I just booked the flight like a week earlier. So if I had known, I might have come back on Sunday. But I did want to it's also the best chance to do like a full review podcast. So if I can get the dudes together on Sunday, we can actually. I want to try to get one in earlier just for the fuck of it, but about whatever. It could just be about power metal in general, some shit. But then. It would be good to do one that's about Prague Power, where I have Prague Power people, so that it's not just me going like, so let me tell you how much Prague Power sucks now. I'm totally not going next year. Fuck this shit. There'll be someone there who'll kind of be like, well, these guys were good. And I'll be like, yeah, I didn't see that.
You could do a fantasy power metal one while you're there, right?
There's really not a single band worth seeing again.
Well, there's
bands that if you haven't seen them, I'd say, yeah, I guess go see.
Well, okay. Voyager and Evergrey, I'm always down to see.
Yeah.
Right, I've seen them. And the other thing is they're playing in New York a week before. Yeah. So I'm going to see them. Like, even last year, when it was Pain and Salvation and Leprous, if I had stayed home, I still could have seen Pain and Salvation and Leprous.
Yeah.
Because the bands I give a shit about kind of come around, at least come to New York. But I don't mind seeing Angra, and they're doing Holy Land, which I dig.
Like that album.
Yeah.
I'm
dig
in the minority there, though.
Yeah. So I don't mind that. But no, other than that, there's really not. So, I mean, honestly, I was not excited when I heard the lineup last year, but.
And the one band I was kind of interested in, like, their visas didn't come through, and.
Oh, Morgana Le Fay? Yeah. Well, yeah, but so many bands cancel. Well, I mean, again, there's something going on with the visas. It was like, which I wondered if that had to do with any of the cancellations for Heavy Montreal too.
Who canceled?
Periphery. Although I think Rich said I think it wasn't. It was some other reason, but Obscura, Periphery. There was a couple others.
That's right. I mean, the only reason
it might not
from
have been
Periphery
right.
wouldn't have been able to get in would have been like a DUI issue or some felony.
Well, they still need. They probably still need a visa to perform in another country because it's work. They're working.
Yeah, but I think it's kind of easy between the U.S.
Yeah, but the point is that like there's some specific holdup in the system that's fucked everybody. But
nice.
But all the replacement band. So it was like so and so canceled. Who? So and so replaced him. Who?
Yeah.
So and so canceled. Who? Jeff Scott Soto replaced him. Well, obviously.
That
But
fest over the years just gets worse and worse.
yeah, and but it'll be interesting because I should be able to at least get a couple podcasts happening.